Okay, thank you. Uh, I want to give a different perspective. Uh, my name is Angel Bustamante. I work for Paso Water. We're a large system in West Texas, and we have 4 wastewater treatment plants here that I work at. And I know a lot of the participants here were invited through NACWA. So I know that you work for utilities and you may work at the plant, you may work in engineering. So I want to give a different perspective today on a tool that El Paso Water has employed over the last 4 or 5 years with Cando Technologies, a partnership that we have with them. I want to let everybody know that we really do, even though we're in different parts of the country, we all really have the same problems. We're either trying to supply safe drinking water for our customers, or we want to make sure that we're discharging clean water back to the environment. The more and more I go to these conferences and I talk to people from all over the country, we have a lot of commonalities. We may do things slightly different, but the end result is to make sure that we're doing those things with our water management. And as of recently, I was really lucky because I was able to travel. And as I talk to different people throughout the country and even the world, they all tell me that water's getting more scarce. It's difficult to find new sources of water. It's more expensive. So the beauty of having enhanced source control, I'm going to use that term for the rest of my presentation, is to make sure that we're protecting our source waters. And we all live in a one cycle water system where water is being generated from the drinking water plants, being sent to the distribution system. It's sent to our customers. They're utilizing it. And then, of course, there's a discharge back into the wastewater collection system, goes back to the wastewater treatment plant or a water resource recovery facility, and then it gets dumped back into the environment and then goes back to the drinking water plant. So it's a cycle. I'm sure everyone is aware of that. Next slide, please. So when it comes to enhanced source control, I think it's important for us to go back and understand how we used to really do this before we had computers and laptops and technology. And the old method was really to deploy a team of inspectors out in the field. They were boots on the ground, and they would schedule inspections with our industrial customers. They would make sure the industrial customers are discharging according to their permit, and that we were not upsetting the plant. Here in El Paso, we have a great pretreatment team, about 5 or 6 folks, and they do a fantastic job. They do a great job of really communicating with our customers, educating them, explaining to them how they need to make sure they meet their discharge permit. And here in El Paso, we've taken a great initiative. The leaders, my bosses here in El Paso, thanks to their wisdom, they have begun a very exciting project, one of the first in the world, for a direct potable reuse advanced purification facility. And the source water of that DPR plant will be secondary clarified effluent from one of our local wastewater treatment plants. So if we didn't have tools like Cando, if we didn't have tools that allowed us to do this enhanced source control, we would still be relying on spot checks. We would have our inspectors go out to the different industrial users, and we'd be spot checking. However, the beauty of having enhanced source control is it's real-time data. It comes in 24/7. We get notification emails to tell us that there's something not right in some part of the system, and then we can be proactive about it. That's the major difference. Here in El Paso, back when COVID was still a health priority for a lot of people, for everybody in the world, really, we were doing some health monitoring. but not so much anymore. We really focused on enhanced source control. Next slide, please. I want to give everybody a little bit of insight on our system here in El Paso. We're a large system. We have roughly 2,400 miles of wastewater collection pipe. We have 4 wastewater treatment plants, which means we have 4 distinct sewer sheds. Those are shown here on this map here. We have about 70 lift stations and 41 industrial users. So the beauty of having this Cando technology is that anyone that decides to purchase the technology can select different points throughout their system. You can use GIS to georeference where your industrial users are located, where the treatment plants are, where your wastewater collection system is, and how the wastewater moves from one part of town to the other. And then knowing that, you can locate your sensor wherever you think it's practical or useful to have it. You may have knowledge, historical knowledge that tells you that there may be certain particular industrial users that may have been more problematic for that system. Here in El Paso, we have a combination of refinery, a copper smelting industrial user, dairies, metal platers, and food and beverage manufacturers. So here in operations, I work in operations here at El Paso Water. We work closely with our pretreatment team and with the Cando team, and we selectively identify where we're going to place these sensors. Next slide, please. Okay, so this next slide here shows a screenshot of something that I was actually just looking at recently. I signed up for email notifications. That's a tool that Cando offers through the software. I'm able to get real time when something does not look right qualitatively in the wastewater stream. I have a picture of what the unit looks like in a manhole. I'll show it to you. But the unit is continuously gathering data 24/7, and then it has a proprietary algorithm that the Cando group has developed over the years that basically qualitatively describes the wastewater to me. It'll be described in terms of relative pollution strength, whether it's low, medium, high, or extreme. I typically care about extreme events. So every time there's an extreme event picked up by the sensor, I get an email notification. I can access the Cando website 24/7, whether I'm here at the office on my laptop or computer, or I can check on my phone, and I'm able to identify what's going on in the system. This particular example told me that there was a pollution event within what's called our Fred Hervey water reclamation plant. I know where the locations of the industrial users are in relation to the pollution event. So at that point, I can team with the inspectors in the pretreatment program that we have here, and we may be able to send out an inspector. We may want to send out an inspector. We may know that that anomaly is prepared maintenance, or we have a very good relationships with our industrial users. They may have told us in the past or have told us recently that they're planning some sort of maintenance event and that they're going to have a discharge, and we can expect something to change in the water quality. So in other words, it gives us the heads up, and it's a very useful tool. Next slide, please. This is another graph here that shows over time what that pollution qualitatively looks like. Cando has a lot of tools in the toolbox that allow us to basically look at historical water quality. We can go back to what's called a pollution event schedule. So we can look at every day of the week and see within that day, that 24-hour period, maybe there was 2 hours of extreme pollution and then another 2 hours of low pollution. So we can kind of target when maybe that industrial user was discharging, maybe they discharge at night, maybe they discharge some water quality that's not favorable at a particular time of the week. It could be on weekends, but this tool allows us basically to gather data. We can collect the data, we can send somebody out to the manhole, take a sample, send it to the lab, get the data back, and then take that data and go meet with the industrial user. And it's very good to have these partnerships with the technology and our users and our customers so that we can tell them exactly what's going on. They may be able to tweak their maintenance so that whatever they're doing on site with regards to their own pretreatment, they can make a change that doesn't affect us at the wastewater treatment plant. Next slide, please. Okay, so I already described 24/7 oversight. We can really hone in on any type of discharge that may not be permitted. It may be some sort of problem, maybe that the industrial user is not aware of. And probably the most important thing, if any system out there, if any clean water utility is considering enhanced source control, whether it's with CANDO or with somebody else, it allows you to have data that you can go back to your customer and show them the data and let them know that you're watching them. I think before we had this technology available, you may have some customers, some industrial customers, that were trying to pull a fast one. They knew that utility labor, utility workers would not be working at nights or on weekends. So therefore, they try to pull a fast one by discharging at a time that's very inconvenient for the clean water utility. Thanks to this type of technology, now we have the ability to go back and tell that customer that we're watching them. And that is probably the greatest tool, the greatest benefit that we have with CANDO. And it really has helped quite a bit. Next slide, please. This is a picture that I was referring to of the unit. You have to shine a lot of light inside the manhole, and obviously it's dark, so you don't really get a good feel for the unit. But it needs to be, we have about 15 units. CANDO has made improvements with the units. They used to be needed to be submerged in the wastewater. Now they can be placed inside the manhole above the water level. So that's a new feature that CANDO has. We work closely with them. But I also want to let everybody know, all the water systems and the clean water utilities out there, there's no silver bullet. There's no one great tool out there that will allow you to capture everything when it comes to enhanced source control. It still requires a team. It still requires daily surveillance, daily observation, daily boots on the ground. I want to thank the pretreatment folks here at Paso Water. They do a great job. They will never be replaced, even with the great tools that we have. It's just an additional resource that we have. So don't kid yourself by thinking that if you get the technology, you're not going to need a labor force. You're still going to need boots on the ground. You're still going to need great leaders out in the field to work with the industrial customers, to work with the CANDO partnership that we have on a daily basis, a weekly basis. You're still going to have to look at the system holistically and make sure that you understand what's going on. So I did want to make sure that everybody understands that. Next slide, please. So with that, I just want to say thank you. I want to respect everybody's time. I know there's still another presentation to go, and I'll wrap that up with that last slide. Thank you so much, folks. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Angel. It was very informative and insightful.